And the Washington Post editorial board has a new piece entitled, "Like the Tea Party of 2009, No Kings protests are a warning to Trump." And it reads in part, quote, "The Democratic establishment dismissed the Tea Party movement in 2009. Now Republican leaders are making the same mistake as they dismiss millions of demonstrators around the country as little more than pawns of George Soros, the billionaire financier and Democratic donor. It is politically perilous to blame propaganda or malign foreign influence for authentic passion in a country as polarized as the United States. Speech and protests are safety valves for angry Americans to let off steam between elections. They are also a warning for those in charge. After Obama's landslide victory back in 2008, Democrats deluded themselves with the idea that they could hold a large majorities for years to come. They plowed ahead with unpopular laws that most of the country disliked and were punished with a generational rebuke in the 2010 midterms. Trump and his supporters might consider whether they are making the same mistake ahead of 2026. And David Drucker, the protests were peaceful. And what we're hearing from the White House, from the Speaker of the House, even from the top guy himself, that these people don't matter. These people are in some way nefarious. These people somehow don't like America or hate America, as they put it. That's a lot of people to invalidate, I'll say.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of the old saying, can anybody play this game? Instead of running to the right wing or to the left wing, and of course in this case with the Republicans constantly playing to the base, you might try playing to the 51%, and it might do you some good. And I think what we saw with these protests this weekend, I was very curious, by the way, to see what the turnout was going to be and what it was going to look like. I spent a lot of time along the coast in southern Delaware for the past 6-7 months, and I've talked to a lot of these people. A few hundred protesters have showed up every weekend waving signs at traffic. A lot of them are retirees, right? I mean, these are not people dressed in black causing mayhem. And what you found is a lot of concern about executive overreach. So here I saw that sort of supersized. And what you saw was a lot of energy, a lot of concern. And when you can get this many people into the streets to do a quintessentially American thing, which is protest the government, our entire system was designed so that you were allowed to protest the government. It shows you that a lot of people are paying attention and that a lot of people are going to vote next year. Now, we can talk about messaging and policy and what most voters are concerned about, and that matters, right? And that's things, bread and butter issues like inflation and affordability and things of that nature. But when you get this many people that come out in this way, it shows you that something is going on. Can it be sustained over the next 12 months? Will it be sustained? A lot of this will depend on what happens in Washington, how people feel, what Republicans do, what Democrats do. But what this shows you is this sort of beginning of something that could turn into quite an election next year, because, as you guys were referencing, it's a mirror of what we have seen in the past that led to some pretty big elections.
And there was real focus on keeping this peaceful. There had been some in the White House who wondered if there had been perhaps some violence that could be used as reason for more federal involvement, National Guard or the like. That, of course, did not happen. So